Okay, today we're going to be reacting to a video that has over 1.2 million views. Now, this isn't the original post for the video. This is just a repost, but we'll be tagging the original creators as well. But again, this thing has 1.2 million views and over 70,000 likes, and just people in the comments eating it up. And what we're going to do is go step by step and debunk this entire video, essentially. As always, any sources I provide, if you're watching here on TikTok or any other source, go to the YouTube channel, go to the link in my bio. All the sources that I'm providing will be linked in the description of the video, because propaganda like this is what people just fucking eat up, and it just makes the world stupider. So we're gonna go through this. We're gonna debunk everything. So let's start off. We're talking about baby factories in Ukraine.
All right, well, some disturbing reports have emerged from Ukraine over the past few weeks of women being kept in underground bunkers by companies that are making billions of dollars off of the baby farming industry.
So look at the way he worded that. He's saying that companies are forcing these women to stay down there in order to make money. And he's specifically using verbiage to appeal to emotion. He's calling it a baby farm. He's already trying to use appeal to emotion to try and sway the argument before any evidence is even presented. So just keep that in mind.
Yes, baby farming in Ukraine is a booming industry, rakes in billions of dollars, actually. Here is the Swiss-based baby surrogacy company called Biotexcom with a promo video explaining how desperate Ukrainian women...
Biotexcom, Swiss-based. Let's fact check that. We can look up the public information for this company and see that they're not, in fact, Swiss-based. They were founded and they are based in Kyiv. So off the bat, we're less than a minute into the video, and I want you guys to keep that in mind. We're less than a minute into the video. We've already got an appeal to emotion with no evidence, and we've got a flat-out lie. So we're two strikes already. If you actually look up the information on this company, you can see that they were started by a German businessman in Ukraine. So let's keep going, though. We're off to a good start with the lies.
And can come to their bunkers and have their uteruses turned into a baby-making machine. Watch.
I don't know. I gotta unlike that, but I don't know where they got the quote that women can come to these factories and be a baby-making machine. Like I've looked for the quote and I can't find it anywhere, so I find that really interesting. But let's keep going.
Now I will show you our bomb shelter, where we will transfer our clients and their newborns in case of the outbreak of hostilities in Kiev. Let's go.
So if you listen to what she just said, she's saying this is a bunker just in case shit hits the fan in Kiev. So the war has started. We don't know what's going to happen. This is to keep our surrogates and our babies safe. Makes sense. If you're in an active war zone, you need to keep your people safe. That's a no-brainer to me, right? Like, does anyone disagree with me that if you're in an active war zone, you have infants and mothers there, you shouldn't keep them safe? Is that what the argument is here? But also, let's do something else. Let's figure out when this video was filmed, because they're trying to say that this is just recent, as of like July 2023. They're saying this was within the last 3 months. So the funny thing is, I couldn't even find the exact video that they're showing. I can find a bunch of similar ones with employees talking about what's going on, and all of them come from around the time of March and February of 2022, when everything just started in the war. So again, we've got an appeal to emotion, a flat-out lie, and then an implied timeline of when this is happening that's also a flat-out lie. This isn't like this is just now happening, because I can already tell you right now, before we even go further, they're going to imply that these mothers have been kept in this bunker for months and months and months since the war started, and that they have no option to leave. That's where I'm already predicting this video is going to go.
Here is a toilet.
Here is a toilet.
Here we have a first aid kit. There are all the medications needed to administer first aid. Here you can see gas masks. There are instructions on how to use a gas mask all over the shelter.
Yeah, I gotta add, it's really sad that they would even have to go that far as to consider the fact that they might have to use gas masks in their home city. It's really Really fucking sad, don't you think?
This bomb shelter can hold up to 200 people who will feel comfortable here. Here is our sitting and bedding zone. There are sleeping bags and beds. It's possible to sit or lie here. We have enough sleeping bags and gas masks for everyone who will stay here. There are shelvings with food, as well as tableware, napkins, diapers, and all the stuff needed for babies. Newborns will feel comfortable here. Everything needed can be done here. Here is our children's area. Here we can place newborn babies. There are special cots prepared for them. There are also cribs for a bit older babies. You can see that babies feel absolutely comfortable here. We have everything needed: diapers, cribs, blankets, clothes, food, everything needed.
But if she's talking in a hypothetical about a bomb shelter, why are there babies there now?
I'll tell you why. Because they're filming a promotional video showing the tragedies and the travesties of what they have to go through because of an active war zone in their homeland. They're not in this bunker 24/7. Ukraine is full of bunkers, especially in the city of Kyiv. It's full of bunkers because of shit like this, where Russia will bomb the cities and people have to seek shelter. Fun fact, if you watch what happened when the African delegates visited Ukraine and visited the capital of Kyiv, they were seen on video running for their lives to bomb shelters because Russia launched missiles at the capital of Kyiv while the African delegates were visiting. But yeah, they're not just sitting in these bunkers 24/7. These are just bunkers there in case you need them. And what they're doing is clearly, and I don't know how we're going to use the logical fallacy on this one. Just because they're in the bunker for the video does not mean that those people are actively living in the bunker right now, nor does it imply that they're being held against their will. You're making an implication and an assumption with a baseless argument. Like, you have no idea what's going on there. Or I think you do, but you're intentionally being misleading.
Well, it's not a hypothetical. This is where they are going to have a baby-making factory. This is
not where they're going to have the babies. Where do you pull this shit out of? Show me any evidence that this is where they are going to have the baby.
Where you go to be a surrogate. This is, you need a womb? We've got you covered. Go ahead, David.
Again, we're just pulling shit out of our asses out of thin air here.
I was going to say maybe those are just extras. You know, they make these videos, they bring in people and to set up these shots.
That makes sense. Yes.
They're actors.
Yeah, tester babies.
No, they're not tester babies and they're not actors. It's probably the people who are part of the facility from upstairs that said, hey, we got a promo video we got to do to talk about how much of a travesty it is that we have to deal with this stuff. Come down here so we can film this. Like, it's a publicity thing. People do that all the fucking time. Plenty of businesses do that. Look what my business is suffering and having to go through. Look what the people are having to go through because of the war zone. That's a very, very common thing.
Right. The rent a womb business. You can call it whatever you want. People in the chat are saying this is absolutely sick. This is what's happening. The
Rent a womb
business is actually booming and is expected to double next year. The amount of money that's brought in on this rent a womb business is expected to double this next year. And the best place to do this.
I'm curious where he's getting that surrogacy is expected to double next year. So I found an article that goes over this, and it's saying the entire surrogacy industry is booming. Not the, as you implied, the one in just Ukraine. It's not that Ukraine is doubling their surrogacy industry, because the surrogacy industry in Ukraine is heavily suffering because of the war, because they can't complete their job because of the war. But overall, if you're referring to the whole world, yes, you are correct. The surrogacy industry is booming, but as we can see, the projection is not expected for it to double. It is expected to go from 17.9627 million to 22,372.5. That's not doubling. I don't know where you get your math from. By 2032, it's expected to rise 129 billion. But again, I I don't know where you're getting this shit. You're just making stuff up at this point, or you're taking titles and you're intentionally conflating them to be misleading. God, nothing being said makes any sense.
This right now is in Ukraine, where desperate women are being exploited.
Wait.
The gray
Let's
zone
replay that.
right now is in Ukraine. Expected to double next year. The amount of money that's brought in on this rent-to-womb business is expected to double this next year. And the best place to do this right now is in Ukraine, where
We'll get back to that. He says the best place for surrogacy is in Ukraine, an active war zone. Keep that in mind.
desperate women are being exploited. The gray zone, according to Jeremy.
Okay, so before we get to this article, we're going to cover that. He said the best place to have a surrogacy is in Ukraine, in the middle of an active war zone. I don't know about you, but if I'm a father or if I'm with my spouse, I'm trying to go through a surrogacy program. I'm not going to select someone in an active war zone to host my child in their womb. So I don't know where you get the illogical argument that the industry is booming specifically in Ukraine, and when in fact it's not. But let's go over some facts and statistics here. We can see that this is from IVFconceptions.com. The USA is one of the most preferred destinations for surrogacy around the world, owing to its explicit surrogacy laws and high surrogacy success rates. So, quality-wise, we'll say we're the best. We've got a 95% success rate. Here's another article from ormfertility.com. The USA is the world leader in terms of surrogacy procedures performed annually. Okay, that means we're getting into numbers here. Based on public data, it is estimated that there are around 4,000 surrogacy cases each year. This is split roughly equally between surrogacy using an intended mother's own egg and surrogacy surrogacy that uses a donor's egg. Now that's 4,000 surrogacies per year in the U.S. Now, if we go to this website, DW.com, we can see that all-inclusive under the section of all-inclusive surrogacy, commercial surrogacy is legal in Ukraine, which each year an estimated 2,000 children are carried to term for foreign parents. 2,000. So we've got numbers now. I don't think 2,000 is bigger than 4,000. Do you? Again, I don't know how many lies we've gotten to this point, but we're how far into the video and you've just been lied to this entire time? We're 3 minutes and 13 seconds in this video. I'm going to put a tally up in the corner, and I'm not going to say what it is till now. And then, fuck it, I'll just label it. It's a lie counter. Now we're getting into an article by The Gray Zone.
Jeremy Lafredo reporting for The Gray Zone today. Quote, surrogates have to be from poorer places than their clients, explained the medical director of Kyiv's largest baby factory. Of course, that makes sense. Here's a direct quote from the Gray Zone's reporting on this. Penchota of the Swiss-based Biotexcom says the business
not Swiss-based, and we've already proved it.
Model that enabled him to build one of the most profitable surrogacy companies in the world is simple exploitation. Quote, we are looking for women in the former Soviet republics because logically the women have to be from poorer places than our clients. Yeah.
Okay, so this is from The Gray Zone. So keep this quote in mind. So one, they've already lied about where the company's based. So now let's look into who the Gray Zone is. All right, so we found the Gray Zone. I've even got the article here. And of course, they've got Zelensky standing there with F-16s over babies. Genius. So here's the article, and it says that this quote is from one of the directors of the company. Surrogates, quote, have to be from poorer places than our clients. So let's, before we even get into who the Gray Zone is, let's look at that. I looked for this quote everywhere on the internet. I even searched DuckDuckGo. It pops up in so many places. And it is mostly Russian-affiliated or blogger-style websites, but nothing that proves that it actually came from the actual person they're saying it came from. It's just a bunch of like at some points it even says it comes from random people. This quote has been thrown around so much that it's showing coming up from like 6 different people. So we've already got a lie right here. We've got a quote that you can't prove came from one specific person because there's no proof of the interview. There's no proof that he actually said that. There's no proof of who even actually said it. So let's get into who the Gray Zone is. So according to Media Bias and FactCheck.com, The Gray Zone is a far left or extremely far left leaning website. You can see over here the little dot just for people that don't know. They are labeled as a questionable source. Overall, we rate the Gray Zone far left biased and questionable based on the promotion of propaganda, conspiracy theories, and consistent one-sided reporting. Under their detailed reporting, the reasoning they have is propaganda, again, conspiracies, false claims. Their factual reporting is mixed. They're based in the U.S. Their freedom rating is mostly free, but their credibility rating is low credibility. So, yeah. Let's get some background on, by the way. For the history, they were founded in 2015. The Gray Zone is a far left news and opinion website that produces long form journalism. Max Blumenthal is a writing fellow of the National Institute. He's also a journalist, author, and filmmaker who regularly and a regular contributor to the questionable Russian news websites RT and Sputnik. So we're getting a fact-checkable source, or we're getting a source that is openly contributed by Russian sources. So shocker that nothing we've found shows any evidence of truthfulness in it. You're lying to your viewer's face. You're giving them an intentionally biased source, and you're telling them, nope, this is an article. It's true. This is proof. This person said this, but even the website can't even prove it. This has 1.2 million views. That means 1.2 million people saw this and were influenced by it, whether they followed it or not. The comments sure seem to show that a lot of people believed this video.
Yes, rich people can rent out the wombs. It's no surprise, then, that Biotexcom's quest for the endless pool
I'm done with this quote.
Ukraine into international capital of the global market.
We've already exposed this website and those that contribute to it and the fallacies they make. The rest of this quote means absolutely fuck all.
Numbers. That even before the war, the United Nations and other human rights organizations were setting off alarm bells about Ukraine's child trafficking and organ harvesting. They had a big problem. Shortly after 2014, NATO launched its proxy war against the people of the Donbass. We call it a...
Wait. So we're saying that the proxy war started by NATO in 2014? Because Ukraine wasn't part of NATO in 2014 and wasn't trying to join NATO in 2014. In fact, they didn't try to join until after Russia invaded. But I know the article he's referring to, and it says the title, it's a Huffington Post article, and the title is Ukraine Orphanages Are a Feeder for Child Trafficking. It's a really good article. All right, so in this article, it talks about how children are often recruited directly from orphanages for sex and labor, according to anti-trafficking organizations in Ukraine. There's a huge sexual abuse within the orphanages, so this is a push factor that gets children involved in sexual exploitation even before they grow up. Yes, this is a known problem, or was a known problem, with the orphanages. This was back in 2015. This is something that the Russian sources really like to do. They like to show old sources from almost 10 years ago and say, nope, this is brand new news. This is from today. We're looking at a source from 2015 where there was a lot of problems. There was a lot of problems all over Ukraine. There still is, but there was a lot more problems in 2015. Essentially, what was found out was that there was specific orphanages that were abusing children and forcing them into this kind of stuff, and it was really fucking kids up for a really long time. But at the end of that, they've investigated this stuff. They found the people responsible, and for the most part, things are improving. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying that some of this stuff doesn't still go on, but a lot of the stuff is improving. But on top of that, what the fuck does this have to do with surrogacy? You're relating two things to try and make a point with two completely unrelated things. Neither of these things are related to each other. So what the fuck is your point?
Genocide and it provided the perfect opportunity to use those victims in all sorts of nefarious ways, from organ trafficking to child trafficking. And the world was aware of what was happening in Ukraine. For instance, on your screen right now is a Huffington Post report. 2015. This is a 2015 Huffington Post report that I hunted down
Yes,
today.
2015.
Back when the media didn't feel motivated to tell lies about Ukraine.
No.
The media is not lying about Ukraine. In fact, this article is proof. This article is proof that the media was reporting on stuff that was going on in Ukraine. You're making shit up.
Yeah, back when you could call Hydra Hydra. Back when you could actually use the term
Right.
and not be suspended for hate speech.
Yeah. Right. So this is 2015 from the Huffington Post, not exactly a right-wing publication, dropped this bombshell report saying Ukraine's orphanages feeder for child trafficking, reads the headline. Ukraine's orphanages are feeder for child trafficking. The report highlights the findings of a 3-year-long investigation into Ukraine's orphanages and found that children are at risk of being trafficked for sex, labor, and the selling of their organs.
Doesn't mention organs, but okay.
Yes, organ harvesting. The report says, quote, some 82,000 children are said to have lived in these facilities. Although no one...
Yes, because you cycle kids out. Not saying it's good, but yes, that's how numbers work. They grow every year because more kids show up and then they leave, and then more kids show up and then they leave, more kids show up and then they leave. So the number does go up. It's how they work in the US too.
one seems to know for sure. Some Ukrainian activists put the number closer to 200,000 children.
It's an estimate. Yep.
According to the report. Don't believe it? Well, you don't have to.
It seems so unbelievable, right?
No, it's not unbelievable. It's a post-Soviet country, especially back in 2015, right after they'd gone through a revolution. It's a fucking terrible place to be. It's not unbelievable. It's an extremely believable thing in a post-Soviet corrupt country that's just gone through a revolution. They're going to have post-Soviet problems. This is happening. Stuff like this, I'm not saying this exact thing, but stuff like this has happened in almost every single post-Soviet country. They've all had to go through their learning curve to modernize and deal with their problems internally.
It does. It seems so unbelievable. You don't have to believe it, though. You don't have to listen to their investigation. You can actually visit the U.S. State Department's website right now. Go to the State Department's website yourself, like I did. And you can read right from their own 2014 report. Here's the U.S. State Department.
We're reading a report from 2014 again. 2014. 9 years ago.
Report. This is the U.S. State Department's 2014 report on human trafficking. In 2014, the U.S. State Department's Trafficking in Persons report stated that children in orphanages and crisis centers continue to be particularly vulnerable in trafficking within Ukraine. Here's a quote.
Yep.
Take a look at this. About the risks of being involved in criminal activities abroad, the government of Ukraine did not report any investigations or prosecutions of government employees for alleged complicity in trafficking-related offenses during the reporting period, despite reports of corruption in other sectors of the government.
Yep. Post-Soviet country, just went through a revolution, got some corruption. Are you surprised? Fuck, even in our own country, we've got politicians that are clearly corrupt that don't get investigated despite clear evidence of stuff. This isn't anything new. This isn't anything shocking. I don't get what stating the obvious does to demonize a country that went through their problems 9 years ago.
Oh, no?
Now, people's pensions, salaries, the people that in time, we are paying probably some of those people's pensions, salaries, the people that were involved in that, because
The
they're
government
probably still
employees, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
True.
and that's just the money that's on the books,
there. Right.
right? All of the money that's funneled there that's off the books and they're receiving. The section on Ukraine...
So the
in this
concern is
report
now that we're
particularly
paying them.
disturbing.
Okay.
It highlights how the government essentially ignores child trafficking and turns a blind eye to it. The U.S. State...
It's not saying that the government turns a blind eye to it. It's saying that they've got some corruption going on and that they're actively dealing with it, which they were having a really fucking hard time dealing with their corruption back in 2015. They're doing a hell of a lot better at it now.
State Department report even says that the Ukrainian government wouldn't even prosecute its own government officials who were involved in child trafficking.
Well, yeah, they weren't going to prosecute him because there wasn't any investigations. Duh.
You can imagine anything more troubling than having these children sold off for sex trafficking. Imagine their organs being sold off on the black market. You don't have to imagine it. It's actually happening at an increased clip, by the way. Now, you'll recall, well, take a look at this on your screen. So this is inside, this is a report on the inside, the massive multi-billion-dollar global organ trafficking industry. It's massive. And according to the World Health Organization, organ trade is the buying and selling of organs outside of national medical systems and for profit.
Okay.
Global Financial Integrity.
I'm glad we've established what organ trafficking is. Thank you.
Nonprofit estimates that 10% of all organ transplants, including lungs, heart, and liver, are done via trafficked organs. 10% of them. I think that
makes
number
sense.
is low, according to other reports I've read. But just 10% is enough. If you want a kidney on the black market, by the way, the going rate today, according to the numbers that I researched, you could pay $30,000 to get a black market kidney. $30,000.
Okay.
One kidney is traded on the black.
What does that have to do right now? You're giving us the background. I'm hoping that it gets to a point because right now you're giving us the background on organ trafficking, which is good. I appreciate that you're going in depth and showing what organ trafficking is about since you're talking about it, but I'm still trying to figure out where you're going to go to round this back to Ukraine, since we've already proved that your source that said it's happening in Ukraine did not actually say that.
Market, according to the reports, every hour. Every hour. Last year, Russian authorities discovered that Red Cross, they found these Red Cross files in a hospital in Mariupol. Once they took over this hospital, they discovered that files that had children's organs listed on them. According to investigators, according to the reports at the time from Sputnik News.
The reports from Sputnik News. These are the same people that said, we found bioweapons labs. We did it, guys. We captured bioweapons labs. And then when the UN asked for proof, they said no. If you found bioweapons labs and you proved the reason for your invasion was actually true and you found all this evidence, isn't that something you would be parading around for the entire world to see? Isn't that something you would be showing me look, we were fucking right. We told you we were right. But yeah, Sputnik News. We'll listen to what he has to say, and then we're gonna look this up and see if it's actually true.
Hundreds of medical files found at the Red Cross base contain information on children's healthy organs with no indication of any illnesses. The files also have data on who the child's parents are. Want to make some money?
I'm going to go out on a limb there and say that if you're looking at medical records of children in a hospital that you've bombed and taken over, those medical records just might contain your health status and who your parents are because you're a child in a hospital. But let's research this. Okay, so this source is still under review. They often publish factual information that utilizes loaded words, wording that attempt to influence an audience by appeal to emotion. Wow, shocker. That's what we've been talking about this whole video. Favorite liberal causes. The source is generally trustworthy, but may require further investigation. Okay, so let's look into the article from them. There is no evidence to back this very serious allegation against the International Committee of the Red Cross, which has been firmly denied and denounced by the organization. Again, the claim was that hundreds of medical records with data on healthy children's organs have been discovered at a base of the International Committee of the Red Cross in Mariupol. Again, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, even if this was true, I'm willing to bet they're looking at just basic medical records, because if you're a child and you're in a hospital, your medical records will show how healthy you are, which includes your organ functionality and who your fucking parents are. Cool.
Sell off one of your child's kidneys. $30,000 on the black market. It's a great and highly lucrative business. You know, we had Tim Ballard.
So again, we've gone through a bunch of bullshit in this video. We've gone through multiple fallacies, multiple fucking appeals to emotion, and any of the facts that they tried to present were very easily debunked with less than 5 minutes of doing research. I want you guys to keep this in mind when you watch videos like this, that a lot of the shit that they show you is just blatantly false, and you need to do the research on it. Like, even with me, if I tell you something, go look at the sources. Don't just take me as an expert on something. I may be an expert in a lot of things, but I'm not a primary source. Do the research. Look at both sides of the argument. Look at what's actually going on in the world and show that you know how to think for yourself. Don't just take the word of some random person on TikTok. And again, that includes me. Please do the research. Now, I hope that I have proved to you through this video that everything about this baby bunker factory being true is completely false and made the fuck up. And if you would like to see any of these sources, again, they will be down below in the YouTube description. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you guys have a great day. Trust but verify.